All right, we're back, and a man that I have looked forward to talking with is a man named Chuck Wepner. And Chuck, welcome to Money Matters. It's really a pleasure.
All right, thanks a lot, Gary.
You're very welcome. I had the chance to actually meet you. It was at a dinner in honor of Muhammad Ali probably 15 years ago, and you would not remember, but I was always a fan of boxing, and I was a fan of yours, so I recall having the opportunity to say hello to you, and I'm saying hello to you again. And for those who do not remember Chuck Wepner, he was called the Bayonne Bleeder. He started as the New Jersey state boxing champion, and he worked his way up and then got beaten up a few times and then had a string of victories that brought him to the attention of the super people in the boxing world. And he had a shot at getting a fight with Muhammad Ali. Chuck, what was it like when you first heard the news that you were going to step in the ring with Muhammad Ali, who was, of course, the champion at the time?
Well, it was. I was ranked in the top 10 in the world, by the way. Yeah, I won 9 out of 10 bouts going into that, and I had also won the North American Championship and the NABA Heavyweight Championship, which was supposed to be a world title against Ernie Terrell down in Atlantic City on the boardwalk. But they protested the decision, Terrell's people, and it took a few years before anybody recognized the title. It was one of those other titles other than the WBC and WBA titles.
So you were on the radar screen is what it comes down to,
right,
because you fought those guys. You also, for those who don't know, had a fight with Sonny Liston, and you had... that
was early in my career, yeah.
Yep, and George Foreman, and you... were a name that was very recognizable. By the way, we have had Teddy Atlas on this program a couple of times because he's an acquaintance of mine, and he's
great friend.
Pardon me?
Great friend of mine.
He is. Well, you, if you speak to him, tell him Gary Goldberg said hello. He's been a terrific guy. But in any event, so you got notified you were going to have an opportunity to fight Muhammad Ali. He got paid $1.5 million for that fight. What did you get paid?
Well, he got $1.2 million. I got $100,000 and $25,000 for training, which was super big for me at that time because it was the one and only time in my whole career that I ever got a chance to go away to camp and train full time. The rest of my career, I used to do my road work in the morning and work all day and then train at night. I was never subsidized, so it was a great opportunity for me.
How tough was it to make a living as a boxer at that point in time?
It was very tough. You know, I had a family, a wife and 2 children, and I wasn't getting paid a lot of money, but I was fighting all the tough guys because I was trying to come up through the ranks, and it took me about 8 years to get into the top 10. I was ranked 7th and 8th for a while, and I was in the top 10 for 42 straight months, and that's about the only way you really get a shot at the title is if you're a top 10 rated guy, you know.
So when you look back now, and the boxing world has changed, well, it got really popular and big money. Now it's kind of losing out to the ultimate fighting profession. But the boxing business, when you were fighting, was a very difficult place to make a living. And there were lots of accusations back then about rigging fights and that sort of stuff. Can you give us your comment about what you experienced?
Well, I never experienced any rigging of fights, but there were a lot of mismatches. But you got to remember, too, that when I was ranked in the top 10 in the world, the heavyweight division ruled boxing. Right now, it's all the smaller guys. The heavyweight division now has 2 Russian brothers that are champions. And
yeah, the Klitschkos.
Yeah, the Klitschkos, and they're both good fighters, especially Vitaly. And you know, they could have been contenders even in our era. But my era in the top 10, we had me, Foreman, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Norton, Liston, Bonavina. I mean, all these guys were great fighters and tough guys. And now the heavyweight division, you got the Klitschko brothers, and they really don't have much else.
There's another name I'm going to throw in. I think he's a friend of yours, Butterbean.
Well, Butterbean was way after me, and Butterbean was never a contender. Butterbean was a tough guy, but he was a 3-round fighter. You know, Butterbean was 330 pounds. As a matter of fact, I worked a fight with him once where he fought Tommy Gunn, a wrestler, in a mixed match, and he knocked Gunn out in 1 round.
He was more, I don't want to be demeaning, but he was more of a circus act.
Yeah, he was, but a very nice young man, you know, and I got to do a couple of things with him. He was a little bit of a hillbilly type guy, you know, and he used to bring his girlfriend. And like I say, he was a 3-round fighter, but very tough for 3 rounds. You know, he was he knew how to fight. He just wasn't a circus act, like you say. He was a good fighter, but for 3 rounds. I used to say anybody can be a good fighter for 2 or 3 rounds. Show me a guy that can go 10 rounds, 12 rounds, or a guy who's still tough after 7 or 8 rounds, then I'll show you a good fighter.
When you had the fight with Ali, you actually knocked him down, and that was amazing to behold. And I did watch the fight at the time, whether it was closed circuit TV or on TV, I don't remember.
It was on closed circuit, yeah.
It was on closed circuit. So I went to a theater and watched it. And when you knocked him down, it was one of the greatest shocks.
Right.
Tell us what you felt at that time.
Well, I felt exhilaration, naturally. You know, I hit him with a right hand under the ribs. He pulled away. It wasn't a great punch. He was pulling away from a punch. I threw a left hook, and I followed with a right hand under the ribs, and he went down. And I went back to the corner, and I said to my manager, Al, start the car. We're going to the bank with millionaires. And my manager says, you better turn around. He's getting up, and he looks pissed off. And, you know, and Drew Bundini Brown started screaming at him after that round. What the hell is wrong with you? You're letting this guy kick your ass. You better turn it up. You better. And he did. The last 6 rounds of the fight was a lot tougher than the first 9.
Yeah, I remember they ended up stopping the fight in the 15th round.
15 seconds ago, yeah.
Yeah, 15 seconds or so to go, and they stopped it. But he was ahead on the cards, and this is from memory. So now,
one judge had him ahead 9 rounds to 4 with one even, another guy 9-5. You know, I couldn't have won the fight unless I knocked him out. And you know, I tried chasing him almost the whole fight. I was the aggressor, but he was just Muhammad Ali. What can I tell you? He was such a great fighter and so elusive and so hard to hit with any combination of punches. And what people didn't realize about Muhammad Ali was that he not only a great fighter, but he took a great punch. He was never stopped except that one time with Larry Holmes, and that was near the end of his career. And I think he had, you know, was having some physical problems then. Plus, Larry Holmes was a great fighter. You know, I mean, Larry was champion of the world for 7.5 years, 22 defenses. You know, it wasn't like he was fighting an easy fighter. Larry was a great fighter.
The reality is you fought the great ones, and you were a great one, Chuck, and that's why your legend continues. Tell us a little about your relationship to the movie Rocky. How did that come about? Because you're now going to be, well,
yeah,
I'll let you tell it.
There's a movie on me called The Bleeder, yep, and they just did a super documentary called The Real Rocky, which got a 93 ranking, one of the highest in the last 5 years, and I was in the top 10, and we took Don King on as a promoter, as our promoter, Al Braverman, who knew him from years ago. And King said to me, there's a guy out in Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah, called the Stormin' Mormon, Terry Hinkey, who was 35 and 2 or 3 with 31 knockouts. Nobody wanted to fight the guy, big blonde guy, a Mormon, and he was a big puncher. Anyway, I went out there, and I was a North American champion at the time after beating Terrell, and I knocked him out. I had him down 7 times in 11 rounds, and I knocked him out to get a shot at then the champion, George Foreman. 3 weeks later, Foreman fights Muhammad Ali in Zaire, and everybody thought Foreman was going to walk right through him because he was undefeated, and Ali upset the apple cart and knocked out Foreman. And Don King said to me, hey, I promised you a shot at the title. You're going to be fighting Ali, and I didn't believe it. But 3 months and a day later, to that phone call, I got a call from my mother that it broke, and it was on the back of the New York News. Ali's defending against Wepner in Richfield, Ohio, and that was how it came about.
Chuck, did you ever step into a ring and see a guy and say, how the heck am I going to beat this monster? Were you ever kind of frightened or concerned?
I'll tell you why. I was a big guy. I was a big heavyweight. It's 6'5.5", 228.
What do you weigh now, by the way?
I weigh 247 now. I'm 19 pounds heavier in 36 years. That's all I gained.
Not bad at all.
Most of it, and I'm in the gym. I've been in the gym for the last 20 years now. I just lift weights. I don't.
So you walked into a ring and there was nobody who intimidated you?
No. I was the only guy who might have intimidated me slightly, just slightly, was Sonny Liston in my whole career. And this guy was just a mean guy. You know, I met him up at the weigh-in. He wouldn't shake hands. He was a surly guy. And he's a big puncher. You know, that was my first loss. And I just thought, you know, we take a shortcut to get a shot at the title and beat a top 10 guy, a former heavyweight champ. And I just wasn't ready for him. You know, for 6 rounds it was a fight, but then he busted me up. I mean, I got 72 stitches, a broken nose, and a broken left cheekbone. And,
you should have taken up. You should have taken up chess or ping pong.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have got cut as much. That's for sure. The referee Barney Felix came in at the end of the night. They wanted to stop the fight, and I said, "Barney, look, one more round. I'm okay. Let me go." He's, "Well, how many fingers do I have up?" I said, "How many guesses do I get?" And he said, "I'll be a smart guy." Anyway, my manager had his hand on my shoulder, Al Braidman, and he tapped me 3 times. I said 3. And Barney said, "You can't see. Okay, you can come out." I came out for the 10th round, and about 2/3 of the way through the round, minute 24 left in the fight, he stopped it. I was pretty bad.
Chuck, they take better care of fighters nowadays, don't they? Where they stop it.
Yeah. A much better care. I mean, even in the amateurs, when I won the New York Golden Gloves heavyweight championship and the AAU championship in '65, you didn't wear headgears or anything. Now the kids in the amateurs all wear headgears. They wear bigger gloves. And in the pros, we had 8-ounce gloves in them days, and now they're 10-ounce gloves. And now if you get a nosebleed, they're looking to stop the fight. You know, they're much more careful with fighters.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. And they've even cut down on the fights. You know, like I fought 15 rounds with Ali for the title. I was one of the last 15 rounders, and now they don't fight any more than 12. You know, it's just usually the last 3 rounds they're holding on and they're exhausted. And I mean, come on, 15 rounds with the minute in between is an hour in the ring. I mean, banging it out. You know?
And not just jogging. You're getting beaten. You're getting pummeled.
Exactly. So I agree with it. I think fights are better now, and they protect the fighters more, and that's great. That's good. The guys last longer, and you don't see nearly as many. I do a lot of stuff with the boxing organizations, and you know, you see some of the old timers pretty banged up.